Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author, idiot, and loin streamer, and today I have with me Monty.
Hi, I'm back again. I'm very, very excited to be here and finally talking about something that I actually really liked
She's here.
instead of something I didn't. So,
We can't help it when Grady Hendrix is a letdown and that Lucky Red promises to do something new with Western and then
literally didn't. It did nothing new. It was just lesbians in the Old West, and that was it. And it was barely even that. Again, I never set out to dislike anything that I read. Just an unfortunate circumstance of the time, I guess.
But so today we're doing a comic, but before we get started, number one, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Number two, if you would like to be featured on the channel, check out the links down in the description below. The number one way to be featured is through Lemoy, the monthly prompt writing contest, where I give you a prompt, you write a short story using that prompt, and the first Monday video of the month is basking in the creativity of your guys' insanity. The second way to be featured on the channel is through the feature where if you are an author, an indie author with a book out or a book that is coming out, you submit the cover and the first chapter. They'll be right here on the channel at a random interval to hopefully help the readers that are looking for you find you, because that's the hard part. And the third thing is, if you would like to check out any of my books, they're currently available anywhere that you get books, including your local library upon request. When Monty's books are ready, trust me, you'll know.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know.
I'm getting there, gang. It is. If you ever hear anyone ever say that writing is easy, fuck them, because they're lying. It's so hard. Oh my god, but I'm getting there. Thank y'all for being patient. If y'all didn't know about me, I hope that you will enjoy when they do come out.
So with that said, today's book is actually Mary Sue by George Alexopoulos. George Alexopoulos is better known for his 4-panel political comics. At least that's how I found him initially. And he is also currently working on a Western comic with Razor Fist, which we will eventually also read because obviously it's got Western. And I'm a fan of George. So you know what? I will follow George anywhere to see what he is working on. And we'll see how that goes.
I am becoming a fan of George. I had no idea who he was until you brought up I don't know, I think Shad had insulted him, and then you showed me his gallery on ArtStation. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy has like such a wicked cool style. It reminds me of like watercolor and water. Like everything's very fluid and nothing is stiff. I always appreciate that about a lot of art. But I am also becoming a fan of his, but as a resident Western connoisseur, I am anticipating his collaboration with Razor Fist, because I do love a good Western, and I think it's again, when I said in Lucky Red, it's a sleeping genre. I think that it's coming back, dude, and it needs good stories. It really does.
And I've been seeing some of the stuff that he does, and one of the things, George is excellent at a lot of things. Scope is one of them, and so he's posted a couple different images of what he's working on for that Western on his Instagram. Which will be linked below if any of you guys want to check it out. That's the only way that I knew that the Mary Sue thing was happening, because the way that I discovered this comic was years ago, since I'd already been following George because I saw his political comments and comics, and some of them are funnier than others, but that's typically how satire works. and so I liked his style, and so I started following him. And then he posted at one point in 2020 that he was doing a Kickstarter for Mary Sue. And I really liked the art that he showed. So I went over and I purchased the copies or reserved the copies, whatever. And then in 2021, I got all of 5 issues of it. And I don't know if he's still working on it, but I'm glad that I backed it when I did, because I don't know if you can get this comic right now.
I wish I had it.
Printing it anywhere.
I wish I had it, because it's damn good. It is damn good. I think it is. I think it's fun and colorful and unique. It's also this beautiful amalgamation of what looks to be the things that inspired him to be an artist and a storyteller, and I love that. And it was fun.
I think that there are a lot of things in this comic that are like a love letter to his inspirations, and that could be completely wrong, but it feels like a labor of love, definitely, for me.
Mhm.
And it's also a real shame that this got so little attention compared to other things that have gotten attention, because this actually feels like something that is fun, that he cares about, and that is a self-expression. Like, George is all over this, and the style of the
Mhm.
art and the drawing and the characters and the expressions, like, it's very him. And
Yeah.
that's talking about the essence of somebody that is in their work is really hard to like put into words. But when you look at somebody's art, you can see it. Like when I look at your art, it looks like only you could do. When I look at Sam's art, it holds his personality in the way that he draws. When I look at
Mhm.
my art, even there's something in it that's just me. When I look at
Mhm.
Camel's art, you know, everybody on the server or that I know of that does visual arts, you can see their signatures of their personalities, specifically their essence in the way that they draw. And it's the same thing with written text, which is, or with, you know, written art, which is why I
Mhm.
also love reading books, is because that is you're getting to touch that other person's soul through reading their stories.
Yeah. I would agree with this completely. It's a fingerprint. That is what I would say is a fingerprint, and there is only one you, and there's only one way that you will be able to draw things that is specific to you. And people can come in and try and replicate your style, even if they traced it. You know, that's just taking into account shape, right? Just to trace something, but that doesn't take into account color, or why you chose these colors, or why these colors spoke to you, or well, even the compositions of like backgrounds or things like that too. It's like, you know, the way things are shaped and drawn, and the expressions that come from, if you're doing character art in particular, like there is something so autonomous about art, and when people do it, that you can tell when it's a person that did it versus when, you know, a machine did it, because it all looks like plastic when a machine does it, but when a person does it, like, you can tell, you can see that fingerprint.
And in line with that fingerprint, you've also got the ways that somebody problem solved, because there are, as a learning artist in any sort of form, you might struggle to do certain things. And so instead of doing them, you find ways to get around having to do them. One of the earliest ones that pretty much I feel like everybody that does character art does is, I don't want to draw hands, so I'm going to put the hands behind their back, underneath their arms, in
pocket.
Pocket.
I still fucking do that. I did that with Ike. That was mostly because I wanted to have his hands in his pockets, but I can draw hands. I clearly can. It's just a tedious fucking thing, and it's not my favorite thing to do, but yeah,
that's not to say every time somebody draws hands hidden, that's one of the things, but it's like if you draw, like early on in your phase, if you always draw with the hands hidden, might be because you're avoiding drawing the hands. Now it might not be, but every artist in any phase of learning is going to run into things that they are not that good at, and so then how they problem solve is going to show in their writing or in their art, which maybe they're sucky at hands and they're not hiding from hands, but then they do hands a certain way to help navigate that weakness. And that becomes part of your signature, because then, now you're hyper fixating on this thing that you're weak at. And so you figure out how to do it in a different way that works for you.
Yep. As the great sage Bob Ross once said, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. And I really do believe that.
And we do the same thing with our literary arts is, okay, so we're going to lean into these tropes that we generally lean into because we really like them, or we lean into these concepts, or we lean into these themes. Like my stories constantly have themes of family in them, especially found family.
Yeah.
And so you'll see connective tissue throughout my work of just those things. So art is, in general, a signature, and it always will be. And I think that in everything that George does, you can heavily see his sense of humor, his playfulness, his mischief. But there's also just the love. And I think that's what I mean by a love story, is you look at the way, I think especially getting into issue 3 and 4 and 5 as it goes further in, because at the beginning I could feel kind of the clunkiness of getting kind of landing, because there were a couple of lines in the dialogue that were referencing like the strong woman thing.
Oh yeah,
leaning
that
more
was
on the
funny.
political side, and I'm like, I can see kind of where you're leaning more into this thing, and you're not quite fully into the story yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Because I have some of that, a lot more of that, I think, in Dead End Drive, since that was my first major project. But then he eased into the character, and I think Mary started becoming really much stronger as her own person, and then the story started getting more, like, leaning more into itself.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like kind of like burst out of its shell and then started going in the way that it was meant to go. Because I think a lot of people, I've done this before too, where I don't know what the fuck to talk about, and then I'll start talking about politics in my book, and then eventually it sort of like it transitions out of that into the story. And that's not to say that this is what George specifically did, but I think whenever, you know, you're a little on the nose about things, like, it's clearly on your mind, and I don't necessarily, not a favor of that, but I understand where it comes from. So.
It's just like getting your land legs. It kind of gets, it's a little clunky at first, and then you just get going. So
yeah,
we're going to go over all 5 issues. Those are the only 5 issues that are out. I don't know if George is planning to do more books, but I hope he is going to do more books, because this was just a fun read.
Yeah, George.
So here we go. Yeah, go and send to George begging mail, so at least you can buy these, because these are beautiful. Like, I mean, opening up with this shot, we open what looks like a vacation spaceship of sorts. It looks kind of like a cruise ship in space, and there's a little girl talking to her dad about this fear that the islands might crash one day and kill everyone. And then Mary, who comes in hot and ready to be positive in this little girl's life, is saying, like, it might happen, but more than likely the islands will drift far apart and they're hard to reach. But the disaster won't happen in our lifetime, so you don't have to worry about it.
And then the little girl's like, but nobody will ever be able to see each other anymore. And then she's nah, we'll all be dead by the time that happens. I'm like, God, I related to that so hard. I felt that one in my bones, dude, because like, I have done that where I'm just like trying to be positive, but then I say something like that and then people take it the wrong way and it upsets them. I'm like, well, damn, I know what she was saying. That part was funny as fuck, dude. I just laughing.
It worked pretty much as well as you would think it would, and the dad is like, get the frick away from me, child.
Thanks a lot, lady.
Expressions are so
She's
good.
got like a missing tooth. I love that.
So then we enter this old man that kind of made me think, I said Master Roshi looking man.
I said Master Roshi too. I don't even think for 100 years could go by, and if there were ever a pervy old man ever in a story, I still feel like people would harken back to Master Roshi. Like, and that's not a bad thing either, because Master Roshi is great. Like, I love Master Roshi, but like, it's clear that I feel like perhaps he took inspiration from Master Roshi, because who doesn't love a goofy, pervy old man who's basically harmless and thinks he's hot shit wearing a Speedo and he looks like a scrotum walking around the beach.
For anyone who doesn't know, Master Roshi is like the old master, like teacher in Dragon Ball Z and anime. Mm-hmm. And so not only is he kind of old and pervy, but he's also well known for his fighting skills, and he trains some of the best fighters. So it kind of plays into that trope of being the elder, all-knowing, now in
Paragon,
and now in retirement, and so then he can be just a dirty old man.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's pretty much it.
Master Roshi. But yeah, all these women,
So he's got his arm around these babes in swimsuits, and he's talking about all of this money that he has just around the corner because he's about to retire. And Mary comes in asking what he's up to, and Harshen is mellow because, of course, an old man doesn't want his daughter and or protege to be anywhere near him when he's hitting on some hot ladies. It does not help. She also introduces her pet fox named Bork.
Man, he looks like a little bastard too. A little devil. Reminds me of a cat we used to have named Victor. Oh my god. The nightmare.
Rosemary asks the girls if they want to hang out, and they say no, and then they run off to go and swim. The old man gets upset about Mary harshing his mellow and tells her to go away so that he can go back with the ladies and enjoy the pool. And he also invites the fox to come and join them.
Oh my god, yeah. And the fox ends up like taking off too.
Yep,
and is like, yeah, fuck this. I'm going with the babes.
Yeah.
And Masaka is his name. I think it was Masaka. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the old man.
I think so.
But I love the colors in this. I love her attitude. I think that was probably like my one. It is very hard, and I'm gonna sound like an asshole, but it is very hard for me to like a female character immediately. And I liked Rosemary pretty much immediately because I was telling you earlier, he really captured perfectly this sass, quirky, girl that's a goober without making her bitchy, and I really appreciate that because a lot of writers do not know how to actually perfectly formulate or allow that character to be that and it be good, and I think he really did a great job with her personality. And then it also made it fun to watch her grow throughout the 4 or 5 issues that we read. She's fun and she's cute and she's sweet and she's goofy, and I appreciate that. Like it's like I want this type of protagonist more than I want the angsty one that's like, oh no, all my family hates me, I have to work like 8 jobs, like and nobody's helping. Like it was really refreshing is what I'm trying to say in so many words. So
you know, they're gonna go and have fun without her.
Oh, God, also the the freaking like exaggerated expressions are hysterical. Like they're not afraid to be ugly, like at all. I mean, look at the old man. Like Masaka, it looks like the devil. Like he's missing teeth. There's blood shooting out of his nostrils. And he just, quickly goes and recovers and with the ladies. And it feels like the ladies are a lot more preoccupied with Bork now, which I honestly don't blame them. If there was a fox floating in a little inner tube wanting to hang out, I mean, which are you going to pick? The cute little fox or the pervy old man? Like,
I mean, you get both of them. He got the money, so you get
he got the money, they got the cuteness.
You get the cute, and then you get that guy. So since nobody wants to hang out with Mary, she kind of just goes around the ship, entertaining herself in like all of the amenities.
All the amenities. She's like
playing shuffleboard by herself, going to the casino where they're like, you're in a bathing suit. Get the frick out.
She's got like all sorts of like
eating.
What is that? Like
that looks like a chicken bone.
No, I meant what she's got in her hand is like the remnant of chicken bones and like turkey legs.
So she's just wandering around. There are a couple of panels that really just show her like sitting in a show all by herself and just doing all of these things by herself, but everybody all just having the same mood as her master.
She's obnoxious.
Get out of here. We don't really want you around. Or that family too. Like that does a really good job of sort of establishing how her quirkiness would actually alienates her, because it worked on that child and the dad too.
It did.
It's like anywhere that she is everybody is like, go away.
And what I like is that like she's not letting it get her down. Like she's constantly just zooming around the ship, trying to find something to do, and then she's being, alienated from the rest of the people because she really isn't like everybody else. She's awkward and weird and quirky, and I appreciate the fact that has, rather than draw people to her, it has kind of pushed them away, because there's sometimes if you act like a fool in public, nobody wants to be around it. It's embarrassing. Like, I'm one of those people that really believes that secondhand embarrassment is almost worse than being actually embarrassed, like by something you did. But when you're sitting there watching somebody just make a fool out of themselves, oh man, it gets me. It gets me. It's why my older sister will not watch The Office. She can't watch Michael. She physically can't do it. It's so funny, but I really appreciate that it's not just like, oh, she's so cute and wonderful and everybody wants to be around her. She's driving everybody away, and it's showing you why she's driving everybody away. She's a little uncouth, and I like that.
Which also, one, it sets it up later for why she's good for her job, because she's uncouth, but also, like, look at who raised her, but also
Yeah.
it comes with its own problems. So she's running around and doing her own thing when we finally see her go, oh, look, you're the other panels. Her kind of just doing her thing. Where she goes and sees this custodian whose name is Songbird.
Oh my gosh, I remember. This is when you showed me, I believe, a couple of panels from this when we were discussing art and the way comics art looks, and how I think a lot of us are just kind of fed up with the superhero style being like the style that every comic has to be in, whenever it's like there are so many better comics out there with so much better artwork, and you were using George's Mary Sue as an example, and I remember seeing what you showed me and thought, holy shit, this is incredible looking. I would buy this immediately. Where is it? Sign me up. And apparently I couldn't get it anymore. But we meet Songbird, and it's
already established earlier on that nobody else is giving her any attention or thinks that she's obnoxious, and so then she obviously is already attached to this guy who is actually, nice to her and just talking about her, and apparently has been spending time with her throughout however long she's been on this trip, because they're familiar with each other.
Oh my gosh, he's cute. I like how ripped he is too. Like, look at the arm, the bicep. You like crush a melon with that.
It's right here. I got the key card. So she's asking him about how he's doing. Yeah,
I lost it. I'm gonna go get ready. She freaked out. It was so cute. And look how shitty the note is too. That's cute. And it's a little bird right there too. Like, and she's freaking out. She's like, I'm gonna go get ready. And she just plows on out of there. Oh my god, it was so cute.
So excited to get to go and do something with somebody, and that somebody wants her around.
And he's talking about he's got to like mop up the floor and stuff, and she's like desperate, like, please, let's do something, please, like, and then he's like, well, I can't right now, but later. And then they get dressed, and this is what you showed me, and I thought, wow,
yeah,
is that phenomenal looking? Like the scope and the color and the complementary colors, the values in this are superb to look at. It is stunning to look at. I love it, and everything feels so perfectly in place. Nothing feels out of order. No one feels like they're sort of superimposed into the background, which I have an issue with background. I feel like I superimpose things, but that's because I'm just not practiced enough. But and it's very romantic.
Well, it also shows how you can spread out your details. Like, everything doesn't have to be hyper realistic or hyper detailed, because you see all of these shadows as all people, and it's fine. In fact, you want want the crowd to just be this non-imposing thing to show that there are people there. It's not alienated. It's not empty.
No,
but they're not drawing attention from the establishing shot.
No, there's something that I feel like was talked about. I don't remember where I heard it, but it was like, when too much detail is in something, it actually takes away from the overall environment of like a comic panel or a painting, because it's too loud and there's nothing that you can really focus on. This is like the people in the background over here that are just shadows. Those are people, like you just said, but it focuses on her and him, and then the environment they are also in, and it shows off the particular things that he wants you to see, like the background over here. Like, this is a beautiful place that they're in, and it's detailed without being loud, and that's also really great.
Also, you can still tell that is her dad right there.
I didn't even notice that. Look at him, he's dressed up in a white suit, and he's still got these ladies with him. Get it, Masaka?
And so then they're hanging out, walking around, having kind of a romantic moment.
He's really trying to throughout this, I love the subtlety of whenever he's talking about himself and how he's like, yeah, well, I'm like I think he said he was like the oldest of 8 kids.
Yep.
And that like he's taking care of them, and he's like, oh, I got to get a better job. This one's just dirty. And you think he's talking about mopping the floor on a thing, but he slowly drops these little hints that he's not just a janitor on this ship, but he's getting romantic with her. He's being a little touchy.
Even more, she's a little awkward over here. Zipping my shoulder. She's not used to this, so it establishes also her naivety. It also establishes, like you said, it's dropping hints of like who he is, and it's also dropping hints that he might be having some affection for her.
Mhm.
Like, you're obviously like, oh, he's into her. Well, it's
Yeah.
unraveling other things because you'll see there's a twist that is coming.
And she is.
They're so
sorry.
awkward.
And she's awkward. I love that about her. She's like, oh, I'm so like she is uncomfortable, but she's trying to play it off because he's trying to get her to go back to the bedroom so they can get a little canoodling in. And she's like, no, let's just stay here. And he's like, it's like she's buying to keep out of the bedroom, and he's like kind of trying to pull her back in, and he seems a little anxious about it. He's trying everything he can to like kind of seduce her in a sweet way, but she's nervous about it. I mean, look how goofy she is. She's like
that's because she's
nervous.
awkward. Yeah, she's
trying
like,
to play
I'm
it
not
off.
ready. I'm not ready for that. I can rush to that. Songbird says it feels scary and lonely out there, and Mary says that she likes it because she likes being lonely, which was, I think, one of her first things that really establishes, like, I mean, clearly she's lonely. Nobody wants to do anything with her. And she's so desperate. And then that's her coping with their desperation of being lonely. And she says it really doesn't matter what mistakes anybody makes right now because nobody will care in a million years. So who cares about what mistakes you make right now?
Look at his face. He's like, oh, okay, sure. And she
that has
is
to do with, well, you're on my clock now, mister, and I like to take my time.
We are talking about food. Man, like, it just, like, her going around he is really, like, it's sweet. It's very charming. One of the words I used was charming, that this is a very charming comic. Very, very well drawn. It's funny. The humor lands just right. The expressions of these people are not dead. They're so full of life. The color brings it to life. I imagine that the black and whites or the inkings would probably be just as full of life. And it's just, I really enjoyed this. Like, I was really shocked by how much I enjoyed this because it's very hard for me to enjoy things now. But
so while they're talking, he's obviously like, you can make time for this, right? And she's like, look, we have all of the time in the world because it's a vacation. So let's just take our time. We don't have to rush anything. And so then he gives her, they dance and they exchange email addresses so that they can track each other after this.
The email addresses were so funny.
And that's when they find out that they grew up in the same place. So then Songbird pulls Mary in and says that there's a rumor going around that there might be pirates on the ship. And he tells her that she should go back to her room and barricade the door so that she's not attacked by the rumored pirates. She says that's a weird way to invite somebody back to your room.
Yeah.
And he says that's not it, and then quickly runs off. But so then he tells her that she needs to go, and she really didn't want it to end. And there's just such sadness in this panel.
She didn't, it's like, oh, I was getting to, like, really trying to be herself, and he's allowing her to be herself, though he is trying to rush it. But you kind of find out why he's trying to rush it a little bit later on. But he's trying to rush it, and she wants to take her time, and so she thinks things are going all right, and he's kind of agreed to go, like, let's take time. And then he mentions the pirate thing, and then the tension is really, it's subtlety too. It like slowly builds over the course of those 3 or 4 pages, and eventually he just poofs, and it's like kind of being let down and kicked to the side for trying to be yourself and not understanding. And it's not a fun feeling to get jilted like that. And she tries to play it off clearly, but then the pirates attack.
Yeah, then the pirates. I could not help but feel like I've seen this guy use this George's display picture before. I swear.
It's actually George. He's just like M. Night Shyamalan. You got to find him in the book somewhere.
Cameos. It can be fun to do that. So then very shortly after Songbird bounces, everybody gets attacked. And the pirates have come in. Oh, but then that's actually the end of... Yeah, that's the end of issue 1. Because the pirates attack, and then Mary has donned her suit, which is right here, because she actually has a mecha suit. that she does her freelance work with.
She is referred to as a contractor. She surfaces literally, and then I think lands on the captain. I think that's the captain, and she is just decked out, ready to go. That thing is just spitting out whatever the heck is in there. This like energy, you know, atoms, metaphysical, cosmic shit. It's just all, I don't know what it is, but it is everywhere in there. And she is about to like lay down the righteous hand of justice in her own fucking quirky way.
Yep. So then the captain of the ship and Mary argue back and forth for a while, starting in issue 2. The pirate is like, look, how much is the government paying you? Okay, so they're paying you that much. Well, we will pay you less than that, but it'll be tax-free.
So basically, you'd be making more if you
help us, and you get under. And she's like, you know what?
She starts thinking about it. She starts thinking about it. That is such a call to like anime though too, because that's what I've seen that happen in some animes before, where like there's a character who's being swayed, and she's not a morally ambiguous character. She's just goofy. Like she's definitely, if she were anything, you know, if we were to put a title to it, like chaotic good, I guess is the word I would say. Neutral, like she's not neutral, but she's chaotic, and it's like, I mean, who's not gonna get swayed by money once in a while? And I thought it was really funny that they're just having this fucking argument about, come join me, and then there's other people are like, no, don't, like, we'll pay you this much money if you protect the ship. Like the captain of the ship starts talking to her too, and then they're having a back and forth with each other, and she's just sitting there like, do I take these off? It was funny. Like,
so then eventually she does not accept the money, and so then she gets attacked by the space pirates' secret weapon. Yeah.
That's my face all the time. That's me.
And the fight, like, just the expressions throughout everything. Oh my gosh, go back.
That fucking got me. The like, and then like she freaking like just lays into him with this, and then it like repels her back, and
eventually at the end of the battle she does beat them all, and they have to retreat. They still have all of the money though. She's going to shoot them down because they're flying away on a quick getaway vehicle, and she's got like a bazooka in her arms. But then once she's got it in their sights, this is what she sees on the pirate ship.
Yeah, Mr. Songbird over here turned out to be a pirate too. And earlier when he was saying like, it's just dirty work and I'm trying to support my family. So I feel like there was a lot of implication that I think he really did like her. It's just time was of the essence, right?
And he was already in the middle of this job. Like, they were going to attack. There was no ending it. If he betrayed them, like, there was nothing that he could do really.
No, it could possibly endanger his family if they know about his family. And so he's kind of, like, stuck with this. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any more intention behind his character, because I do know after this happens, she's pretty pissed off about it. But since she sees his face and she sees that, she fires off a blast, but she misses because she didn't want to hit him. Like...
And then they get away.
They get away. The captain's like, floor it! Like, that made me laugh a little. And then there he is over there on the corner.
And then she's upset, and we also learned that pretty much everybody, since they were all rich on that boat, that everything was insured, and the only people that lost anything was her and her mentor.
That made me laugh too. It's like, great, so everyone didn't get robbed but us. We've been robbed. The pirates robbed us. That was funny.
And then she is upset because Songbird tricked her. But she knows how to at least have something, because she got his freaking email address.
Killer Songbird Anthromail. God, the fucking emails in this thing. Like, I crack up because they were like, those are so reminiscent to like when all of us millennials first got email and then made these edgy little email addresses. Like, it was so fun. Like, that's what that reminds me of. It's like, it was hearkening back to that period in time. I mean, the email addresses are just, like, they felt familiar to me. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if they felt that way to you, but they definitely felt like something that I would have seen forever ago, whenever, like, AOL and MySpace were super popular.
Look, my first email address was definitely not devilchilddomain@hotmail.com.
My first email address definitely was not rawedgeimster@yahoo.com. So it was definitely not that.
Well, see, mine was a reference to Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Mine was a reference to me being a little shitheel contrarian.
You got Bloody Razor Edge 666.
The Dark Lord. Aw.
So then this is when we go into volume 3 that kind of switches gears because she is now in space, because she obviously was sent now on a job. Well, we'll learn that she was sent on a job by her mentor, that she needed to go and pick something up from this underwater society that he
basically
has ties
Atlantis.
with. Yeah, basically Atlantis. So she's on her way there because obviously there's nothing she can do about Songbird at the moment. She doesn't know where Songbird or those pirates are. So she's on this thing, traveling. Her fox does not behave.
No, this son of a bitch attacks her. Man,
All she did was tell it to put its seatbelt on because they're landing.
And then he gets like tied up too. Like, shit, man. And then oh god, I remember saying that was gorgeous. Like, they're landing, they're falling out of the sky, and then we meet him, and I was like, uh-oh, George, you can't be doing this to me, George. You can't just be showing me all these handsomes everywhere. Oh my goodness. And then, of course, he's sitting over there reading a book. Oh god. She's like, Fox! She comes out, she is covered in blood. She looks like a possessed, like from the Evil Dead or something, and just fucking comes out. He runs over there, like swims over there to see if she's okay, and she just slides out and she starts acting delusional. And he's got healing properties in his saliva, so he starts very tenderly removing and healing her wounds, and she's over there like a dingus going, oh, neat, like
neato Torito.
Neat.
Which also, this is something that, so this is in the very first couple of pages of the third volume, and the saliva is actually a reason why she came to this planet. She doesn't know that yet. I don't think she knows that it comes from their saliva until she gets there and she goes, hey, I came here to pick stuff up for so-and-so. And then they're like, oh, we traded him our spit for, helping us out. And she's like, what?
Yeah, like literally building their entire fucking society. They hail this man as a god, almost. A god among men. And we'll get there.
But so, like, this is a great introduction of that specific thing that will become relevant later. It's not just a random thing or just a random plot device used to heal her quickly after the joke. But it is actually relevant, and it starts to build their relationship.
I love how, this is why I'm just like, this is a testament to George in a way, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, but I would never have guessed, if you had just sent this to me, did not tell me who wrote it, I would have never guessed in a million years that a man wrote this. That this was a man's idea. I mean, some things, yeah, but when I see like a blue-haired man with a conch on his genitals, like, I'd assume that a woman wrote that. So, like, well done, George, bravo, because I would have never guessed. Like, that's excellent.
So then, now that she's healed, the merman asks her if she is the daughter of the Honorable Dr. Masaka Oppenheimer, and she says, yeah, that she is. She's been sent here to pick some things up for him, and though she is not sure that she'd call him honorable, he does know things.
Yeah.
It looks like she's never seen any of these fishermen before, and she's not familiar with this place before. She may have never been here before because she's very surprised at all of this. And he introduces himself as Naraki and says that the queen wishes to speak with her about the task that she has come for. So apparently, she has been told one thing by Masaka, and everybody on the planet has some different expectations for what Masaka was supposed to do.
Oh, yes. Oh yes, very different expectations. I feel as though that is an understatement.
So as they go down, she's going to be taken to her mentor's underwater facility, laboratory, house, whatever. And she's also invited to a feast with the mer people. She's like, can I just not go because I don't like seafood? Would that be rude? And then Naraki's like, yeah, it would be rude. You have to go.
Yeah. Like, quit. Yeah, you have to do it.
So then she's just getting in. And this was one of also my favorite panels in this issue because of just the framing in this one with the underwater aquarium, basically.
Oh yeah, I love this shot with her looking out at the ocean within the ocean. It's like a dream. I think a great way to describe a lot of the scenes in this is very dreamlike in the best way possible, because it's not entirely defined down to like the last itty bitty detail, but it's like fluid and it flows and it's colorful and you know what you're looking at, but it's not like, again, it's not like extremely detailed, but that's what adds to this and gives it so much depth when you look at it, and power too. Like
George says so much in his story in a lot of the panels that don't have any words.
Yep. And that is a hard thing to master. There are very few that can do that. I think Tsutomu Nihei, who does the Blom series, that manga virtually has barely any dialogue in it, but you know what's going on because it is something you got to experience. I could never explain that manga to anybody. You have to experience it telling a story through images without words. That's very hard to do, and anyone who can do it, my hat's off to you. So,
and that's one of the reasons why I felt it was so important. I mean, other than that, it's hard to find this comic anywhere at the moment, but that's one of the reasons I felt like it was so important to include so much of George's art while talking about the story, because it's something that you need to see because it is just so good.
Absolutely.
And it tells so much of the story, but like I just like looking at it. It tells.
I know, I like looking at it too. Like I found myself going back, looking at certain things. I actually started to look at like, I wonder how George did this, so I can, apply it in my own way. And like when I was drawing stuff, and I love the way he does color. Like he's really, really talented. And you better be thinking of continuing this, George, because I'm not. Like, I'm not going to say, I will write you a letter a day, and I will harass you. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm a hyper dingus, excuse me. That's why I'm very fond of this hyper dingus of this comic, and I love her.
So then, after she's kind of all settled in and ready, and the appointed time comes, Naraki returns with this whole welcoming committee who are excited to see Mary, because she is there to help them in their time of need. And they're all going to whisk her off into basically the Atlantis. As you see here, we got another establishing shot. That's
gorgeous.
It's what a castle looks like when you're doing an establishing shot.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm just teasing you.
You got a sense of size here, even because she's obviously right here. So even the balance with the paneling, the balance of the two panels where you have the up close shot here to establish their size, and then the size of them compared to where they're going.
Which she goes, because I get she said, I hope you're not planning to eat me because I'll get super mad at you. And I'm like, that was cute. I like when she came out, because they had to give her these clothes in order to like come, because you have to be official and you have to like dress and be, win in Rome, basically. And it's so cute. She comes out and she's a little embarrassed, and she got the little conch thing that flows down. It's attached to fabric. It was one of my favorite shots, and she was so embarrassed. And there we go. That she comes out, a little conch, and conches on her boobies. And he just looks like he's very impressed with her. And it's very sweet the way he looks at her. I'm sorry, I'm a hopeless romantic. You'll have to forgive me. So that one. There's Toasty. We found the fish version of Toast. We're going to have to find other people from. Okay. But I particularly like this because it pertained to certain readerly preferences of mine, and I just appreciated the humor in it. And this was cute too.
So then she's being brought in to go and talk to the queen, and she is well liked because she is known as the daughter of Masaka.
Masaka, that's what I was referring to.
And we got all of these freaking weirdos.
They're apparently, like, look at the duck over there, and then there's a cat, and then, like, look, move out of the way. This is really happening. About time. And you're starting to think, like, what is going on? Because she was just there to get something. The way it sounded, it was like she was just there to get a package.
Yeah.
Something like picking up something from freaking Amazon. And then everyone down here is just worshiping her like a goddess. Her little booty cheeks and the con made me giggle. Her hair's like floating up in the little fishbowl she's got around her head. It's so cute. It's very
So
pretty.
again, we've got the movement and the composition of entering this room where you can't see quite yet, and then the room establishes. And again, you've got size and then bigger size to help show like
how
proportions, how big the scope of it all.
Yeah, and it actually looks like it was drawn. Hand drawn and not used with 3D tracing stencils.
There you go.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, even like that one in the back with like the orangutan looking one. That's very cool looking.
This panel has these two very detailed ones, and then also this guy.
Yeah, the little jellyfish in the background. I thought that was so fun. Uh-oh. No way.
And then Naraki's sister. And then you meet the queen. You get all of this build up to meeting the queen, and then you get the queen.
She's like a mix between like a shark, an anglerfish, and then a human that has like hair. I think it's hair, or it's a cape or something. But it's just really, it's hilarious the way the queen looks.
And that would be the end of the second volume. So then we know where we're going with the third volume, which is these people. Oh yeah. As it ends, she also says the tournament's about to begin. So it gives you an idea of where volume 4 is going to start. And it's going to be, well, what is this tournament? Who is the queen? What are we about to experience?
Yeah.
Well, then it immediately starts up with telling you exactly what the tournament is, which is sort of a celebration, a cultural celebration of their old practices, which is how they used to choose the new leader of their country or of their underwater society, which was a fight to the death. Now they don't do that because Masaka helped them establish a better society way of choosing. And for that, help in establishing society and learning philosophy and all of that within it, all he asked for was their saliva. And so this is where she learns that's what she came for.
At first, I was kind of afraid they were going to make her drink it. I'm like, oh, please don't. It's like, this is a part of our traditions. And she's sitting there freaking out. Like, eh. And then, oh my god.
And that's when she's learning exactly how her godfather, her mentor, was involved in everything, and how the queen fish is in love with her, and the queen are in love with him, and how the queen fish kind of figured that once Godfather Man retired, he would retire there so that they could get married, because Fish Queen is obsessed with him.
And apparently he was a freak. A freak.
I mean...
And she says that, like, yeah, he's retiring, but he doesn't plan to come here.
And so then she's also learning about what happens to society when they pick a new leader, because that's the job that she is actually being given and what they expected Masaka to do. And she is not prepared to pick a leader of their society. Not only that, but once a new leader of their society is picked, then like a portion of their society dies.
Yeah. And so this is like a huge thing to just foist onto someone's shoulder and not be told about it until you get there. And like, even if she was a little bit more mentally mature, who the hell is going to be prepared to do something like that? I mean, really. And you know, she sits up there, she comes up there to talk to Naraki, and she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, can't you just guys decide among yourselves? And they won't. They can't, apparently. No. She's freaking out about it. But
well, they don't feel like they can and that they have the ability to. And then she's asking, well, what if it's just picked at random? The decision is irreversible. Whoever is selected, the others will be sacrificed to the god. And then he just accepts that is the circumstance for their people. That is just what their people are. And then if he and his side of people die for this, then they become a part of the mythos of their society, and that's just the way that it is. And it's just ingrained. That's just how it is.
He has some great words. He said he's really like also kind of disappointed that it wasn't Masaka who came, and instead he sent her, and it confuses him because Masaka means so much to their society. He's like the guy who laid the foundation for their society to turn out the way it is, and he's not even there, and so he's confused by that, and he's talking to her, and I think, I think in this moment I think she gets offended, but not because he's offended her, but because Masaka did this to her and he didn't even care to remember. Like,
I think she's also shocked by like the acceptance of the end of things that he has, because he says, I had a bunch of questions for Masaka, but he didn't come. And so I guess I'm just going to probably die with these questions. And I guess that's how it is. The world has existed long before us and it'll exist long after us, which is a funny echo of what she said in the first book when she was talking, or first issue when she was talking to the little girl.
Yeah.
Because she told the little girl, don't worry about it because we're probably all going to be dead. And that now in this moment, those words are being thrown back at her, but in a completely different situation where she's rethinking those words.
Yeah, it is sad, you think about it, because she kind of like very was very blasé about it. It's like, let's go, it'll be fine, we'll all be dead. But then that was like in her, I guess, her own idea of what she's used to in her society and the society that she came from. But his is like, he could literally die if he doesn't win this or whatever. She chooses their next ruler, and it could all be over for him in minutes, and she would have to witness that. And it does harken back to what she had said before. Now there's actual weight to those words instead of just flippantly saying it like it's nonchalant and it's not going to be happening for a long time. But this can happen to anybody at any time.
I'm thinking more along the lines where he's saying the world existed long before us, it'll exist long after us. And what are our jobs here? Well, maybe some of our jobs are just to witness the beauty and the chaos that is life, and we'll never do anything with our life. It's just to be here to keep the record. And maybe some of us will leave a world in better condition when we move on. And then we'll pass that on to, the next generation. And that's all that you can best hope for, is to be a positive change and that your life was not a complete waste of time. Yep, and I don't think she thought of that beforehand, because all she was thinking about with that little girl was just, well, don't worry about the trouble of what's happening right now, because like, it's not going to be our problem later. And he's saying, well, hopefully that when I'm alive, I can leave a better life for what comes after me.
Yeah.
So it's a complete opposite of what her perspective was at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And so then she goes back to the lab and yells at Masaka for not telling her the true reason that he sent her there, and why didn't he come and do that, because she's not prepared to make these decisions. And that's where issue 4 ends. And then, she also wants to ask them. She asks them and tries to ask the queen about these other 2 people that had come with Masaka to this underground place, or underwater place. Because those people were theoretically her parents. She's pretty sure that they were her parents, because Masaka was traveling around with her parents.
Oh, yeah, so the Fish Queen had like a photo of him when he was younger, and then these 2 people, and it's like, that's probably her parents.
Yep. And so then she tries to ask Masaka about her parents when she's on the phone with them, and he quickly hangs up and doesn't answer. And so then she decides, okay, then I know that my parents were here in this lab at some point when Masaka was here. I'm going to look around for information. And so then when she's searching around the lab/facility, she's going into places that are marked as don't go here. And so a security system goes off. And she is attacked by a robot creature security system that is also like remote controlled.
Yeah.
And so there's this long fight between the 2 of them where they keep calling her an intruder, and they're wanting her name, and she's giving a fake name.
Oh, that part was funny.
And eventually she does beat the thing. Oh yeah, this is part of it, because they're fighting. This is the security guy.
Oh my god.
Who is in charge of it. Oh.
And she's like giving all the like ridiculous excuses. Like, I'm so-and-so for man. Like, I'm a photographer, and I have this like magazine that I do, and then he calls her out on it. He's looking at the information. It's not true. Yada yada yada. And
yeah, but she picks a name of somebody who is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're spinning the whole time fighting. There is this robot creature thing that he embodies to fight her. And it ends up in her outfit, actually, or not her outfit, her mecha outfit overheats. So she has to do certain things so that it doesn't overheat, but it does overheat, and then the place explodes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And she kept warning him too. It's like, hey, dude, like, keep doing this. It's gonna blow up, and it does.
And so then, I'm not entirely sure. I assume the whole lab exploded, and then she shot into the air. But we don't know because we don't get to ever see what happened, what the lab looks like, because this is where, number 5 eventually will end. Yeah. But at least that guy is dead. So we can assume that probably the lab is destroyed. So whatever she was looking for, she's not going to find.
Yeah.
And so then we go back to the security side of things. And this is, again, another set of panels where George says a lot without words.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Even just these. Go back. I'm gonna die.
Yeah. It was funny.
Because he failed his thing. And this, I think, also is one of my favorite sections, is just the flow and what is being said here without words.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
And then he throws his flask away, puts his hat on, goes to face the music. And that's when you find out that his boss is her dad. Yeah, no, he doesn't know that. We've seen this picture and we know, thank you for finding her. So then he gets congratulated for finding the daughter. And this is where it all ends.
Yep, and then there's no more issues after that. Tragic.
At least right now. So
I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It was a great time.
The art, beautiful. The characterization for all of the characters, beautiful. They weren't afraid to just be themselves, to be ugly, to be stupid.
Yeah, that was funny.
The pace for this book, or for these issues, was great because it always introduced a thing, and then it gave you enough information to establish the thing. And then by the end, you had some sort of closure. It doesn't mean that the problem was solved, but it means that you knew what had happened with a thing, and then you had kind of a direction. The only time that sort of changed was between issue 2 and issue 3, because Songbird was at the end of issue 2, and then there was no Songbird, and she was on this island at issue 3, and that means Songbird can come back at any time.
Oh yeah, I would say that too.
So do you have any final thoughts?
Oh, I really liked it. I hope he continues after he's done with Razor Fist, and that I enjoyed it. It was great.
It was just fun to read. Beautiful art. It also goes to show you that you do not have to define literally everything in your art. There's a lot of character in what you choose to establish and choose not to establish, as opposed to doing hyper-realism in everything or trying to do vague everything. It's if you just give the idea of things, it can actually create more atmosphere than hyper detailing.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think of hyper-realism as like the it's not the end-all be-all of art. Like, I feel like people think that's like a crowning achievement. I'm like, yeah, sure, if you're a prodigy and you can write down everything and or draw down everything in like hyper detail.
I think that's all that we got to say on this, except for George. Make more if you have time.
Yeah, make more, George. Please, thank you.
Very enjoyable, and hopefully his next stuff will get more attention so that he is free to go and do and create whatever he wants to create. That said, thank you everybody for joining us for the last book review of 2023.
Thank you. It was fun. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was fun.
Have a great weekend. Have a great New Year's, and see you on the other side of 2024. On the other side of 2023. Don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out?
The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him.
Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Way. Why? Did you do that? To the left, plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry, flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?